But you know, it's funny, this comment about homosexuality, the gay community being anti-family and anti-religion. You know, I think years ago there would have been an issue with the gay community and religion, because religion has been, you know, scriptural abuse has been handed down through the years towards the gay community. But I think more and more you're seeing churches open themselves up to the gay community across the board. I believe the first 8 or 10 floats and organizations that were represented at New York's Gay Pride Parade.
What kind of churches?
UCC.
Not the Catholic Church or any.
The ones that don't go by the Bible.
The Catholic Church has some tolerance to it. Some, not a lot.
Yeah. And cost them $600 million last week.
And the Catholic Church took a huge step back this week when the Pope said
There's
that you're the only.
I don't think he's condoning priests going with little boys. I doubt that.
I am not. The Episcopal Church and has basically had a schism because of homosexuality.
Yeah. Well,
Same thing with the Lutheran Church in Europe.
V. Gene Robinson became a bishop in New Hampshire, and you know, that's a really interesting story. That guy, his life. A lot of people don't realize what his life is all about. The V in his name stands for Vicky. He was born in Kentucky, and his parents thought that he was going to be a girl. But when he came from the womb, the forceps crushed his skull. And he was so badly, his brain and head was so bad. This is a true story.
That's not a good case for sodomy.
This is a true story. No, I want you to hear this. This is an amazing story about this man, where he has come from. His skull was completely crushed in childbirth, and the family was not given the baby when he was born.
So you need to be brain dead
and they took the baby's head and formed it so that it looked like a head, handed it to the mother and said, "You've got an hour with your child. It's probably not going to live long."
All right, but what does that have to do with?
Well, what I'm saying is that is the first hurdle that V. Gene Robinson had to overcome in his life.
Yeah, but who is he? I have no clue.
He is the first gay bishop in the worldwide Episcopal Church. And to Bert's comment, it has caused a lot of turmoil in the Episcopal Church.
Are we going to see more gay government officials? Is it possible that Florida would ever have a gay governor?
Well, you know, Florida
might be.
You know, you don't really know.
Who are you talking about?
I'll tell you, there's something locally happening in the water right now, Chris, where we could have some very prominent government official who is openly gay, who is an amazing person, and is a.
You know what happens?
You got an inside scoop.
I
know. You know what happens when the sodomites
and we currently have a gay representative.
They start to push their agenda. They start to exclude. They start to narrow the rights down. That's shown just in the same piece.
So, I just got a question, Larry. You're married. You have a wife. Okay, Bert, you're married. You have a wife. You know, Chris. Ironically, both of these men are involved in same-sex relationships. Because when you go home at night, you have the same sex with the same person.
That's the key to marriage.
You have the same sex with the same person.
That's a different way of looking at it.
Yeah. So you're involved in same-sex relationships.
Okay? For example, you go to get a marriage license. Anyone can get a marriage license, subject to age and blood relation restrictions. Okay? But one thing you must have is a partner of the opposite sex to be your spouse. For example, you go to get a cat license. They won't give you a dog license, okay? And it's not because of bias or bigotry against cats.
Do you have to have a license to have a pet?
Yeah, I'm afraid so.
Okay, well, I don't have animals, so I mean, my question, you guys: do you guys think that marriage is a religious institution?
It's a God-created institution. It's a blessing.
So you have to be a Christian to be married, or you have to be in the church to be married. Is that what you're saying?
Can the homosexual community then create?
My point here,
forget marriage or create something else?
In this country, two atheists can go and be legally married in this country, because marriage is a civil right. It is not a religious right. It is a religious act.
Government has
the act of marriage can have religious connotations to it, but to be legally married,
government oversees
legally married in this country is a civil action. So that's why you see
got a good point with the atheists.
Two atheists can be married.
Marriage was here long before laws or government.
Wait a minute. Atheists are sodomites?
No, he said they're not.
Phenomenon. It is part of nature. Marriage preceded the churches, preceded laws and governments.
But marriage has also evolved over time, Chris. You know, marriage, the woman used to be the property of the man. Okay.
All right, so how do you solve this issue?
Go back in the closet? I don't know. Quit pushing your agenda on this society, ramming your views down my throat. Get the thought police off my back. Don't force me to embrace a morally depraved lifestyle.
Larry?
That's good. That was well said. You know, the thing is with your sin, see, being deceived, you don't know you're deceived. Okay, so you go about and you do your business, you have no standard for truth, and when you have no standard for truth, you'll fall for anything. And what you've done is you've given into your sin preference and said, oh, it's natural. If it was natural, then you guys should be able to procreate. Otherwise, you'd basically bring yourself right to extinction.
Larry, we could have brought a cinder block in here, and I would have had as much of an impact in a conversation with that cinder block as I would have had with you. And you're very, you're very solid with your views, and I appreciate your.
Well, I have a standard. I can stand it.
Well, you know what, and I have a standard
What's
too,
your standard?
Larry.
Tell me what your standard is.
My community is important to me, and
there
is diversity in my community. There are different races. There's respect. There's tolerance.
Where do you get your truth
and your
from,
position does not talk about tolerance. Does not talk about respect of other people.
Tolerance is a virtue for those who have no convictions.
I want to take a couple calls.
Ask them though, seriously.
Yeah, we got some calls here, guys.
Where do you get your truth from, sir?
My truth is living my life as how I am as a human being.
Okay. So if a pedophile lives his life as how he wants to be, then that's his truth, right?
Larry, you seem
that's a
to
sexual
deviancy. You seem to know a lot about pedophilia, Larry. We're going to have another show about this.
I'm talking to a sodomite, sir. I mean, come on.
All right, let's see what the view.